So the Mobland premiere was the first time I've ever been asked to do any kind of red carpet hosting by any brand. And this is something that I've been pushing for fucking ages. I've been badgering TikTok and just saying, like, can you get me one of these gigs? Like, how are people getting these gigs? To be fair, they're getting them because they've got more followers than me. That's the reality. But I also was like, I love film and TV, and I know some of these creators getting these gigs, and like, I would never name any names, but just to say, they don't know what they're fucking talking about. They have no idea what they're talking about. And like, I love this shit. Like, get me in there. I also think part of it is just like, I'm a straight guy in it, like going into his 30s. It's not a very cool character to cast as the red carpet host, really. Like, I think I'm just kind of a boring straight male millennial. I don't know why I prefix that with boring, just to say that like straight male millennial is kind of like, it's a non-diversity casting of that role that I understand why they would want to avoid that. And maybe they just think I'm going to be shit as well. But anyway, Paramount Plus thought that I would be okay, apparently, and they apparently, and they got me in. And they said, you're going to interview Tom Hardy, you're not going to interview Helen Mirren, and you're going to interview Pierce, but you can't ask me about Bond or Mamma Mia or anything else. So, I did interview Helen Mirren, Tom Hardy blanked the fuck out of me, and Pierce Brosnan stared into my soul. But I think I did okay. I didn't feel I felt very nervous the week leading up to it. On the night, I felt okay. I kind of was able to warm up with some secondary character actors who were all brilliant, but obviously didn't raise the heart rate as much as Pierce Brosnan staring into your soul. So I was able to kind of get my juices flowing with some standard questions. And then once I heard Tom Hardy was first, I think. Tom Hardy's around the corner. I looked and he was there, the thickest neck I've ever seen in my life, just 4 feet to my left, thicker than his head. And he was kind of like looking growly and grizzly and gruff. And I was like, oh God, he's going to fucking hate me. He's going to hate me. Here he comes. Just straight by me. Couldn't have gone quicker straight by me. Not even quick. He just ambled by me. He was so confident in the fact that he wasn't going to talk to me. Don't even think he looked. They have these like wranglers, these like, I don't even know if they're agents or PR or whatever, being like, okay, Tom, we're going to take you to this station. And the problem was that my station was called Paramount Plus Socials, which is what I was. I was the social outlet for Paramount Plus because I was going to do a post on my profile. Problem with that is the wranglers don't like the word socials. They want to see like Deadline.com, BBC, that kind of thing. And so, even despite the fact that Paramount produced the fucking show, I was what's the word? Passed up by Tom Hardy / Tom Hardy's Wranglers. Helen Mirren was not supposed to talk to any of us. Obviously, on the way, I was like, I bet she's going to fucking talk to us and I'm not going to have any questions ready. So I got some ready. And she came up and they said, okay, Helen, this is Paramount Plus Socials. And she went, oh, socials, like that. And I was like, oh, Helen, like, I'm not going to be a douche. And her wrangler had said to me before, don't do anything stupid. And I was like, what do you mean do anything stupid? And she said, just don't do any dances or anything. I'm like, do you think I dance on TikTok? Is that what you think I do? I didn't say that, but that's what I thought. I said, I'm not one of those people. I think I'm fine. And then Helen was coming. I was like, oh, it's fine. Hi, Helen. Nice to meet you. And then Helen Mirren's looking at you and you're just like, oh, okay. And I asked her about The Long Good Friday, which was one of the first films she starred in. And it was Pierce Brosnan's first film. And I knew that they hadn't had a scene together. But I thought, I'll bring this up because they're both in this. And maybe that's kind of a full circle thing where, they finally get to have scenes. And not only that, but they're a couple in this one. I dropped the question and she was like, well, me and Pierce didn't have scenes together. And I was like, yeah, do you know what, Fred? That was a wank question because they didn't. And she's obviously going to say that. She's going to think you have never watched it. And yeah. And so that was annoying. I kind of fucked that up. Anyway, and so that along with the socials thing meant that Helen Mirren was lovely, but a little bit reticent to get involved in my questioning at first. But I think I pulled it back at the end. Pierce Brosnan was a bit more open, but he was very Pierce. So he didn't look me in the eye. So he was talking, he'd kind of look down and he'd say something, and then when he was done, he'd squint back at you. And you'd wait for your next question. And he'd go, well, I and glance and down and glance again. And like that. And so he his charisma and his confidence comes across in a kind of, I'm almost too good to look at you kind of way. And again, I'm not trying to badmouth these people. Like, I was in awe of Pierce Brosnan. I was looking at his fucking face and I was like, you could be Bond now. Like, if I was Barbara Broccoli and I was still the owner of Bond and I looked at you now, I'd be like, you could do the role now. Like, we're all saying this new Bond has to be under 40. Apart from Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan can do it now. Let's just do an oldie worldy Bond. He's 60, he's retired, but he gets back in the game for one more thing. Do that. Because I tell you what, I still fancy him. So the whole Bond girl conceit's going to still work, although it is outdated. So I managed to get through the Pierce one. Also asked him the same question about Long Good Friday, and he gave me the same answer. Why the fuck am I doing that? Why am I doing that? And I think my best interview was Guy Ritchie. So we had this very tight situation where I'm stood next to a camera here, right into my fucking eyeball, which isn't looking at me, which was annoying because I wanted to be seen next to these people, and I was promised that I would be. But anyway, and then there's like a rope, and then there's like this much space, and there's a person behind me telling me who's coming up and stuff. She was so helpful. The camera guy and the sound guy. So there's 4 of us like squashed in this thing. It's not as decadent as you might think. And so you're kind of trying to regain some kind of poise and stature whilst not looking like an absolute fucking wally, basically. But my best interview was Guy Ritchie. And I think that was because he also had the same reticence in regards to socials. He didn't say it this time, but he went, what the fuck, socials? And I think it was because he was pleasantly surprised by my questions. I think they were more informed. I was asking him about his visual style and his relationship on set with Tom Hardy. And it sounds quite like generalised questions, but I think I asked them in a way that felt informed. And I think that did well. Anyway, if you want to see more about that, check out the video I posted on my TikTok. I'm really happy with it. And like, it was such a great night. And, oh, sorry, I don't know if you heard that little frog in my throat. And I really want to get to a point where that's kind of a regular gig for me. And who knows, Mission Impossible coming soon. That's also Paramount. Who knows?